You got my good side.
Yeah, I did. Hello everybody. Happy holidays. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. This is our last quarterly meeting of the year. Marlton Neighborhood Alliance quarterly meeting for December. I'm Alexis Reed Curling, the president of MNA, Marlton Neighborhood Alliance, and we have our treasurer on, Regina Smith, and we're missing our secretary. She is in class in the master's program, and she's taking a class tonight, so she'll jump on a little later. And my VP is on a plane headed to Houston, Texas for a cartoon convention. So, here we are. All right, we got a lot of faces, and I'm happy to have them. Oh, wow, this is cool. Okay, so we never get this many on for the Christmas one, but we got some special guests that we got going on. So we're just gonna move it forward now. We have our community officer on. We have a new one. It's Corporal Webb. If you don't know him already, haven't seen him around, we're gonna talk to him in a minute. We're gonna get this treasury report together. That means I need to change my screen. Oops, I went back to okay. I'll just wait a minute. I'll leave it there. Okay. Introduction is what I'm on. All right, so the treasury report, and then we're gonna meet our community officer. Then we talk about Heather Moore, and I'll put Heather Moore.
It's okay.
I didn't, Heather Moore Townhouse Development. We're gonna have some questions and answers from them, and that's what we're going with right now. All right, so for our treasury report, we're gonna go ahead and kick it off over here. There we go. Go ahead, Miss Regina.
Thank you. So for our quarterly report for the period of September the 1st through November the 30th, we started off with a beginning balance of $708. We did receive our dues from the Brandywine Country Homeowners Association of $500. We had a few withdrawals, keeping our website URL maintained, marlton.org. We had our trunk or treat marketing materials and our trunk or treat winner, Jay Vaughn, for her decorations, which was awesome. And our annual cost for renewing the site hosting for Marlton.org, leaving us with an ending balance as of November the 30th of $739.13.
Anybody have any questions for Miss Regina?
I want to protest that trunk winner. I thought we did a pretty good job too.
You did. You did.
You did. You definitely did.
It was the smoke machine not working right. That's what did it.
You know.
She had a spider that jumped out.
It was that bad finger that the skeleton put up. We couldn't have that. Yeah, that spider was everything. It scared. It jumped out at people. Oh, it was in the bubbles. It was the bubbles. Like that. All right, no questions about that, and we will move on. Ooh, what I got? Okay, well.
Yeah, that's it. Go to the secretary. Ain't no need in them.
Yeah.
Go to the agenda.
I'm sorry, Pat. I don't have a slide for you. If you have something, you can share your screen. If you have, you want to pull up anything.
Is Ken Dunn? Is Ken Dunn on the call?
I am. I'm here.
Can you share the plan, Ken?
Yeah, let me just start. If I could, I'll just start with an overall aerial map to sort of locate the property for everybody, just to make sure everybody's on the same page, and then I'll move.
And Ken, if you wouldn't mind, just real quick, I'd like to introduce our team.
Sure.
Who's on the call? Ken Dunn is our civil engineer with Soltez, located in Lanham, Maryland. Arthur Horn is our land use attorney with offices in Largo.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That one second. I'm so sorry, Pat.
Okay.
I promised Officer Webb that he would go first because he isn't feeling well. He's under the weather.
It's okay.
If they've already started. No, we're gonna be a while. We're gonna be a while. I promise you that. So go ahead and
It's not up there.
Somebody speaking then. Okay, go ahead.
I'm only seeing people one at a time.
Okay. All right, I'm muted. Okay, go ahead.
You want me to go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Hey, good evening, everybody. I want to thank Alexis for letting me join. Just a little bit of history on me, just since our first Zoom meeting where I'm getting to meet a little bit more people out here. I am new to the Division of Community Engagement Unit, but I am not new to the Clinton Division and to your area. I've been with the Clinton Division for about 10 years, and I'm very familiar and have been in the patrol capacity for a majority of that time. So I'm very familiar with your area, the roads, the issues, the challenges. So I'm fortunate to be able to have that background and now come over to the community engagement unit and take on a different role and be more of a liaison between the community and then the functions of patrol. So I'm really looking forward to that opportunity. And apologize in advance. I am not feeling well, as Alexis just kind of mentioned. My personality is usually a little bit more up, just not feeling it tonight. So I do apologize for that. What I like to do through these community meetings, and if there's any feedback afterwards, you can pass it on to Alexis, and then I can kind of tailor it as necessary. What I try to do is discuss any issues that are in the surrounding areas that the community may participate in, like the shopping centers at South Osborne as well as at Marlton. And then I take a little bit deeper dive into the Marlton neighborhood itself. But typically what I like to try to start off first is discussing some community information, making the community aware of some programs that are out there so that you have that information. And if you find it to be useful and want to participate, we 100% encourage that. One of the things I do want to mention, and you'll understand a little bit more once we get into the crime stats here, there's a program out there called Watch Your Car program. It's actually run through Maryland State Police. It's a program in which you can register your vehicle through the Maryland State Police, and then they send you, if once you go online and fill out the registration form, they will give you information, and typically, unless they've changed recently because of technology, they'll give you a little sticker that goes in the back window of the vehicle. With that allows officers to conduct a traffic stop on that vehicle if it's being operated between the hours of 1 a.m. and 5 a.m. That's the only probable cause we need to conduct a traffic stop on that vehicle, because what that registration, when you register that with the state of police, you're saying that that vehicle is not a vehicle you would normally operate during those hours. And it's a great resource and a great tool as we try to combat stolen vehicles. Because if you can imagine, sometimes we see vehicles on a roadway, they haven't been reported stolen yet because they're happening overnight, and the owner of the vehicle doesn't even realize their vehicle is gone. So this kind of helps tie that in place, meaning if the vehicle was taken, it's being operated on the roadway, stickers in it, and it's between those hours, we can attempt a traffic stop at that point. So it's very, very helpful. The other thing I want to bring up, it is the holiday season. Theft from autos typically go up during this time of year, both at residences as well as in the local shopping centers. Our criminals out there are looking for people that are leaving the vehicles unlocked, leaving valuables in eyesight, as well, and that includes the packages, because often, and I'm just as guilty, I'll go from store to store to store, and I'll usually stop by the vehicle, leave it in the car, and then go on to the next store. Just try to make sure those items are not in plain view, or if possible, put them in a trunk where it can be locked and not as easily accessible. The other thing I was doing when I reviewed the crime reports over the last 30 days prior to leading up to a meeting, I go through pretty much every call for service, which that encompasses a lot. And one of the things I did notice is that we did have quite a few alarms in the Marlton area. And I want to make sure if as individuals get their alarms and they get the things coordinated through the alarm companies, make sure they're being registered through the Revenue Authority. One of the things that we do when we code out these alarms is we do identify if that false alarm reduction unit registration number is in fact being displayed somewhere on the residence. And if it's not, that information is accumulated, and that homeowner can be susceptible to getting warnings and/or fines through the Revenue Authority. So if you go to the Revenue Authority, it allows you a space to be able to register that, or if you talk to your alarm company, they'll help you register the product as well. The one thing I do also want to mention, this is late in the year, but it gets us a head start on things that are upcoming for next year. Through Prince George's County Police, we have what's called a Citizen Police Academy. It's a 13-week course. It starts in April. They have not identified any start date officially, but it is anticipated to start in April. It's a great opportunity for community members that want to get a better understanding of what we do, how we do it, and the types of resources we utilize when performing police work. The course description as it's identified online is it's a training opportunity that allows our community partners to become familiar with Prince George's County Police Department, provides exposure to officer-related training such as investigative procedures, citizen and police encounters, crime scene investigation, traffic enforcement, narcotics, and judgment enhancement training. And what that is, the best way I can describe that last one is it's basically a shoot or no shoot scenario. So the citizens actually get to go through that program and get exposure to that. A lot of individuals that have gone through it, it's a very enlightening experience. And it really does help community members and the police be able to have a different perspective. Not that we always make the best decisions. We do make mistakes. But at least it helps bridge that gap a little bit. It gives individuals a slightly different view and looking through the eyes of the police officers. Another thing that's out there to help with the youth, in Prince George's County, we have what's called the Police Explorers. There's two different programs out there. One's called the Explorer program, which is geared to 14 to 21 years old. And then there's the Explorer Club program, which is geared to 11 and 14-year-olds. Both of those programs really start to encourage the youth to take on a slightly different approach. And I apologize if you hear my dog in the background. I can try to quiet that down. But it gives the youth some exposure in how to deal with not just things from a police perspective, but it helps build on their maturity, how to deal with conflict resolution, gives them alternate means to do that. The programs do include minimal exposure to police activities, kind of makes it fun for them, how to do a crime scene investigation. So if you have youth that are involved, would like to participate in that, please feel free to contact me. We have an individual who is on the community engagement unit that actually heads up one of the programs through the Clinton division. So we do have the resources right at our station to at least get you in the right direction and potentially get the youth signed up for that if you're interested. Any questions on that so far? All right. We're going to talk about the crime stats. So again, as I mentioned, I tried to involve areas that are not just through Marlton, but in the surrounding areas, especially with what the community may use. The first one's going to be in Marlton Shopping Center. I got to tell you, things have been going tremendously well at the Marlton Shopping Center. We do have part-time units that work there occasionally, and it is 100% on the radar and an area that we do try to patrol pretty regularly. The only thing I have to report for the Marlton Shopping Center for the last 30 days is this all occurred on one evening. There were 3 businesses that were broken into. Nothing of substance was taken from any of the 3 stores. One was the cleaners, one was the carryout restaurant, and then the other one was the restaurant on the end. So I know that from time to time, there's been some complaints with loitering in the area. There's a very specific couple vehicles that have been brought up in the past that we've addressed. One of which I think is a gold Marquis. And that actually, I got a text message earlier this evening. They did make a stop on that vehicle again tonight. So we're constantly monitoring that shopping center to try to limit any issues over there. So things are looking pretty good. South Osborne Shopping Center, same thing. Last 30 days, and this wasn't even within the shopping center, but the Chipotle was broken into, and that was on the same night that the 3 stores in the Marlton Shopping Center were hit. So for one night, we had 4 establishments, 3 at Marlton, 1 at South Osborne that got broken into. Outside of that, things have been going very, very well at both of those areas. And that includes the CVS across from the South Osborne Shopping Center, The 7-Eleven constantly has minor thefts and all 7-Elevens unfortunately are exposed to that. But no robberies, no carjackings, no theft from autos have been reported at either one of those shopping centers. So I think that's some really good news for the Marlton community. With regards to the Marlton neighborhood, there has been an uptick in stolen vehicles, and what I will also what gets classified as vandalisms, but in taking a close look at each of the calls for service, I would classify them more of attempt stolens. So Marlton neighborhood, we had a total of 8 stolen vehicles. And what I try to do, just for the awareness of the community, I will provide quick 100 blocks, not the specific addresses for the privacy of those individuals. But just so you have a feel for where these have occurred, I'll go through the 100 blocks very quickly and the type of vehicles. 8900 block of Heathermore Boulevard, it was a Chevy pickup truck, and it was recovered the same day over in the Clinton area. 8800 block of Heathermore Boulevard, a Honda Civic. 13100 block of Grandview Court, a Hyundai Sonata. 12700 block of Town Center Way, another Hyundai Sonata that was also recovered about 2 weeks later in the Clinton area. 12900 block of Sweet Christina Court, Nissan Sentra. 12800 block of Center Parkway, Dodge Ram pickup. 12900 block of Woodview Court, an Infiniti Q50, and 8500 block Heathermore Boulevard, a Hyundai Sonata. Now, as some of you may see, we do focus on Heathermore and Fairhaven quite a bit, noticing some trends. There for a while, we were getting vehicles that were stolen being dropped off in that Heathermore corridor through there. That has been reduced significantly, but unfortunately, we're still having some issues with these stolen vehicles. And that's why I mentioned earlier with regards to the Watch Your Car program. That can be helpful in dealing and combating the stolen vehicles. But we also do understand that our presence can make a big difference as well. I've already had some communication with our CAT team, which work very closely with us in trying to hit specific areas that may be having higher trends, such as this area. So I've already reached out to them, given them some information and seeing what we can do to get something scheduled for the overnight hours to be a little bit more visible in those areas. I have not yet, but I will also reach out to our patrol teams that are working midnights to see what we can do to get a little bit more presence over there. As I mentioned, we had 7 what are listed as vandalisms, but again, reading the damage to the vehicles, it's more of an attempt stolen. And again, those are an 8900 block of Heathermore Boulevard, a Kia Soul with a damaged ignition, 8800 block Heathermore Boulevard, a Hyundai Sonata with a damaged ignition, 12500 block of Woodstock Drive, Hyundai Elantra, damaged rear window, 12400 block of Persimmon Road, Hyundai with a damaged ignition, 8800 block of Heathermore, Kia Forte, damaged ignition, 8600 block of Binghampton Place, Kia Optima, damaged rear window, and 12200 block of McCullough Court, Hyundai Elantra, damaged rear window. So as you can see, a lot of Hyundais on there and a lot of Kias, which I'm sure most of you are aware based on the news and other social media outlets. They are 2 popular vehicles that are out there. One thing you can pass out to the community is individuals that do have make or models that fall in that category. They can contact me, or they can, if Alexis, if you're good with that, they can contact you and you can forward it to me. We do still have in stock at the station some steering wheel locks that we can get passed out to the community. Just need to know if anybody would like one.
Absolutely.
So just let me know that and we can get that coordinated. 2 other items, actually just a couple more. We have 2 items that I'm gonna classify as shootings. Don't panic quite yet. 8500 block of Grand Haven Avenue. There was a dispute between 2 males that did result in a firearm being discharged. There were no injuries during that incident. The best that we can tell from reading the report, One of the citizens or one of the individuals wasn't as forthcoming that would have been necessary to be able to do an appropriate investigation. So not much has happened with that, to be honest. And then the 12100 block of Wallace Lane, we had a community member who reported a vandalism by gunfire. There was one round that actually went through her house and ended up being lodged in her bedroom closet. She was not home during the incident. So, and what's also interesting with that is we didn't have any, I was looking for sounds of gunshot calls that we sometimes will get from the Marlton area. There was nothing around the time frame in which that was reported. So I found that a little peculiar as well. And then we had some theft from autos. For the last 30 days, Marlton Center Drive and Heathermore Boulevard, a Jeep Compass, 8700 block of Monmouth, a Toyota Camry, 9100 block of Grand Haven Avenue, Audi A6, 8400 block of Wexford Road, a Kia Soul. Two of those four, the cars were unlocked. And individuals, one of the items taken was a laptop out of one of the vehicles, someone's wallet, and some cash that was in the wallet was left in the vehicle. And that's why I also just want to remind people, watch what valuables you're leaving in these vehicles. And obviously trying to make every effort to make sure your vehicle is as secured as possible to limit the access to the individuals that are going through the neighborhoods and conducting this type of behavior. That, in a nutshell, sums it up. I will say that the stolen vehicles are up. I'm a pretty forthcoming individual. When I did the report this afternoon, prior to the call, I immediately started to try to make some notifications and dig a little deeper. So, because I know this will also, I think we have another community meeting with another Marlton Association next week. That'll be a hot topic with them as well. So give me an opportunity to work with our various teams and see what we can do to make sure that we're doing whatever we can on our end to limit that activity. One of the challenges that we do have is with vehicles that are straight stolen vehicles, A, we have to know they're stolen to even start to initiate a traffic stop, and B, even if we know they're stolen, it does not fall under our protocol where we can do a chase. So if the vehicle is reported stolen, we run the tag, it's in the system as stolen, it takes off. All we can do is document that incident and give a direction of traffic, a direction of travel. So it's just an unfortunate circumstance for everybody that's involved, but we do everything we can to be proactive. And that will sum up my time for this evening. Are there any questions?
Wow, that was a lot.
That was a lot.
It actually was not a lot. The other night I took almost 45 minutes because just the information that was being presented in this one neighborhood. But you guys, I got to say, things are looking much better in that area. I know there for a while the two shopping centers were having a host of issues, but we've seemed together been able to eliminate most of that. So that's good news.
I got one question that I want to. When you say about the gunshots,
yes,
and people report them.
Yep.
I hear them, but I don't report it because I don't know where it's coming from. So would it just be, how would we do that if someone was trying to report that?
The best way I can describe that is a lot of people do call and they report the sounds of gunshots. What's challenging over in the Marlton area is there's certain areas of Marlton that do back up to a wooded area. And there's power lines that back up like towards the one side. So it is very hard to tell where they're coming from. So the best guidance that I give individuals, if you think it's happening right outside your house and it's in close proximity, or if it's 2 a.m, that's a weird circumstance, right? If it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, it's hunting season. So because the sounds of shots do travel quite a bit, use your best judgment. I'm not going to say don't call. Now, if you're sitting and you're watching TV and all of a sudden you hear 13 shots go off rapid fire and they're right in the area and you hear nothing else before and after, that's probably a phone call you need to make. Something may have happened in the area. But if you're hearing one shot, 10 minutes later you hear another shot, 10 minutes later you hear another shot, that's more associated potentially to someone that's hunting out in that area. But again, I'm not going to tell someone not to call. You have to use that best concern, that best judgment as to whether it's alarming to you. At least we come out, we kind of drive through the area. If we don't see or hear anything else, there's not a whole lot we can do, but at least the call for service is in there. Any other questions? Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. I'm so appreciative of you joining. So I had my vehicle broken into. I did not report it. It was the evening of Monday, November 11th. What would be the
Okay.
best way for, and I have a video recording of it. What would be the best way for me to, I guess, file a police report?
So what you can do with that, and especially if you have video of the incident of the suspects, do call. It's important that you call because it gives, sometimes if you have video, it can link us to other issues in the area, because you may have a portion of a video that someone else may not have had. You know, they may have gotten the car, but then you got the suspects. If they happen in close proximity, we can start linking them together. So always do call when you have that, have that type of crime. You can call the non-emergency number, or you can put your request in, and I'm not very familiar with this, truth be told, but you can also put the request in through text message and email through the county website. But I am not familiar with that process. I'm embarrassed to say. It's not something I've used personally, but call the non-emergency line, and then we can get that information. If you have video, officers will almost 100% come out. If you don't have video, sometimes it goes over to our telephone reporting unit.
Okay, got it. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you for your question. Anybody else?
Lorraine?
Yeah, a couple of like a month ago or so, there was like a whole bunch of ATM thefts in the area. I know they got some of them. Did they get like the whole group, or is that still something that's happening?
That is still something that is happening through the county. We, not within the last 30 days, I want to say it was probably closer to 45, 60 days ago. We did have a situation in a Marlton shopping center where they tried to get into the ATM machine that's right next to the CVS. Those two individuals were captured that evening while they were attempting to do that. Those two individuals were not from the area; they were from New York. So that kind of gives you the span in which these events occur. They're not always local individuals and that are within the community. These individuals travel around. Some of them are experts, some of them are copycats, but it is a constant issue. If you watch the news, whether it's PG County, whether it's DC, whether it's Virginia, it's a constant battle with these storefronts. The individuals ram their vehicles into the storefront, wrap a chain or some other device, try to get the ATM machine out. It is happening on a pretty regular basis, but nothing to report direct in the Marlton area right now.
Okay, we have a question in the chat. There seems to be an increase in helicopter activity in the area in the evenings. Is this related to police activity?
That's a very difficult question to answer. I do know that given the calls for service that we've had in the Marlton area, I'm not aware of a great deal of activity that would have required that. There was a couple missing person calls, but from reading those calls, I don't think the helicopters are up. I do know that we're relatively close to, and I get them over my house all the time. The base will sometimes send their helicopters out, and because of the area they're canvassing prior to Air One coming into the base, they do fly around and make sure things are secure before the plane comes in. So that it could be that. Outside of that, I can't answer that specifically.
Okay, and then the gunshots at 8500 Grand Haven Avenue area, do you have a date time frame when that occurred?
I do not, but if there's a specific question to that, I can email, I can get that information and send it over to Alexis. Is someone asking a question, or are you asking that?
I'm asking.
That's fine. I can get a date on that.
Okay.
So I just got to be careful with what I disclose with that, just because of how that report was written. I do believe it's a unique circumstance. I don't think it's something where the community needs to be concerned. Just from reading the call for service and then again, how that report was written, it looks
Mhm.
like two individuals, one of which doesn't live in the area, they had a conflict and then it got resolved in an unfortunate manner. So
Okay.
it's not like it's something that it's not like you have an individual in the area that potentially is going to be causing additional issues. That's not how I read that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yep. Any
I
other
don't
questions?
see nothing else in the chat.
See
Okay.
how good you are, even sick.
Um, and again, if there's any feedback on how the information was presented, if dates are something you want with the calls for service, we can do that. I can easily put that into my notes. So if that's something you'd like, let me know. If there's something you don't like, let me know that. I can modify this any way possible. All right.
All right.
I
Thank
appreciate your
you,
time. Thank you for
everyone.
inviting me. And I'm
Oh,
looking forward to
okay.
some other events coming up with the nicer, once we get that nicer weather.
Yes. Yes,
All right.
definitely. Happy holidays.
Thank you. You
All
you
right.
as well.
Thank
Take care,
you.
everybody.
Bye. Okay. Sorry about that. Pat,
That's
now
okay.
we go. I wanted to get that in.
That's fine. I'm
Go
going
ahead,
to
back when
start
you
where
were.
I left off.
You were calling to see if Arthur was on, so he's
Yeah,
on.
Arthur's here, and Alexis, thank you for inviting us tonight.
Sure.
I'll go back to introducing our team. Mr. Ken Dunn is on from Soltez. He's our civil engineer. Arthur Horn from Shipley and Horn with offices in Largo. Andy Garrich from Dreamfinders Homes is on the call, as is Lindsay Goyan, one of the owners and partners of this project. With that, I'd like just to tell everyone, I have some history on Heathermore Boulevard. I developed the last section of townhouses at the very end, before you hit the railroad tracks. It was about 89 townhouses, and Dan Ryan was the builder. And I'll let Andy get into some of the architecture later. I really went to extremes to find a new builder that I thought would add to the community of Marlton. And Dreamfinders Homes they're based in Jacksonville, Florida. They do a lot of work in the Southeast, and they're expanding throughout the country. I'm also developing some single family lots for them over on Westphalia Road, but I'm very excited about Dreamfinders and introducing them to Prince George's County. But with that, I would like to hand it off to Ken Dunn, who can bring the plan up. This plan that we're discussing tonight, we're not asking for any variances or any special exceptions. It's basically one of the last developable sections of the original Marlton plan. I had a few calls today from citizens talking about traffic, and I understand traffic issues, and we have to go through what's called adequate public facilities as we go through the subdivision process. But I will say, Heathermore Boulevard is not going to be the thoroughfare it was designed to be. The Park and Planning Commission bought everything on the other side of the tracks. I don't know if you are aware of this or not, from the Girl Scouts of America. And so that's been preserved. It'll never be developed, and that road will not go under or over the railroad tracks. But with that being said, Ken, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the plan and presenting the subdivision, and if any questions that you'd like, please ask Ken or Arthur, who's on the call. I know someone earlier asked about Norman Rivera. I understand he may have worked on this in the past, but he's no longer working on this project. And I know Norman, I like Norman. But go ahead, Ken.
Thank you, Pat. First thing I'm going to do is share my screen and try to orient everybody to the site, just to make sure we're all sort of on the same page, and maybe answer any questions that people might have about exactly what the property that we're talking about. The property that we're here to consider today is this property where my cursor is. Hopefully you can see my screen. Okay.
I see it.
So it's this property here. It is currently wooded. It is approximately 29.5 acres. It is the frontage road is Heathermore Boulevard, which is located right here. You'll note 301 is here. I've heard some discussion about Grand Haven Avenue here, a few of the other major roads, Trumps Hill. So hopefully you're oriented as to where the property is located. Pat was just talking about the Girl Scouts property that's been purchased by Park and Planning. That's located over here, and I think has been generally referred to as East Marlton as opposed to, say, West Marlton, which is this general area here. So that's where the property is located. And I just want to make sure that everybody is comfortable with that, or if you need a little bit more information as to where we're actually located. Okay, fine, that's great. So now what I'll bring up is the actual plan itself. And give me 1 second here. Again, hopefully you can see my screen. What we're looking at here is what we've titled a basic plan, which is one step in the overall land development process that you have to go through at Park and Planning and through the Prince George's County process, and ultimately to get a permit to both grade and develop the property that I described earlier. So again, the property is located in this general area, if you can see my cursor. It's bounded by existing townhomes here. I believe these are the townhouses that Pat developed earlier. And it's bounded by townhouses here and across the street. There may be some multifamily style development here. Heathermore Boulevard is located right here. We will not have an entrance off of Heathermore Boulevard. We do have an entrance located at these red arrows into the property from existing roads. So this road here exists and this road here exists. We'll be accessing our site off of those roadways.
Do you mind just stating the names of those roadways?
Yes, ma'am. Just 1 second. It's the one on the right hand side is Marlton Center Drive. The one on the left hand side is Woodstock Drive East, if that's helpful. So this is Marlton Center, and this is Woodstock right there. The site is split zoned. It's under the new zoning code. It's called this portion of the property is called an LCD property. This portion over here is the RMF 12. In general, this area here is undevelopable. What we're trying to represent here by this black line that you can see on either side are what we refer to as primary management areas, or PMAs. Those are composed of wetlands and streams and very steep slopes, and generally remain undisturbed except for the occasional utility that might need to go through there, because that's how utilities kind of work. So you'll see the vast majority of our development pod is located here. And we have a few units up here to take advantage of this developable property adjacent to the tennis courts. The site is actually 3 different parcels: parcel 101, 102, and 103. So 102 is this parcel, 101 is this parcel, and 103 is over here. We'll leave 103 undeveloped simply because it's just not naturally a developable parcel. There's almost no road access, and the slopes are so steep as to kind of take it out of play for development purposes. However, the rest of it does work for development. We have some recreational facilities that'll be generally located where these purple asterisks are. You have to remember that right at the moment, this is a very basic plan. Not a lot of engineering has gone into this. What you do in Prince George's County is work these generally conceptual level plans, and you get more and more detailed as you go through. So there will be more bites at the apple, so to speak. In other words, we'll have multiple other applications we have to make after this one goes through the process. And if it's approved, we will have a preliminary plan and then a site plan that we have to go through. So you'll see us at least 2 more times after this one, and the plans will get more and more developed as we go through. These red dots here represent roadways. The blue dots represent alleyways that will access the individual units internal to the development pod. With that, I'll wrap it up. If anybody has any questions about the layout, I'm happy to take that, or we can move to the architecture if you'd like.
I saw somebody had raised a question about access.
Okay. Again, just to describe this, our access is here off of Woodstock and Marlton Center Way right here. This is Heathermore. It does front the property, but we will not be accessing off of that.
Sorry, my question is, but for Marlton Center Drive, you have to go from Heathermore to get onto it. So does that, it's not like nobody from our development is going to be entering into that. So I'm just confused at how it circumvents Heathermore.
Nobody's circumventing Heathermore. All I'm saying is that there is no access directly from Heathermore. So directly off the road, you won't see a new intersection onto Heathermore. Only the intersections that currently exist, which would be right here and right here.
Yeah, Woodstock and Marlton Center Drive. And Ken, won't all those townhouses, all those units on Heathermore, they'll be fronting Heathermore. So you won't be looking at the back of townhouses. You'll be looking at the front of townhouses.
That's correct. There just won't be any driveways off of Heathermore.
That's
or
right.
another new road punched through in off of Heathermore.
No curb cuts.
So how many townhomes are we talking about?
Pat?
Was it 200?
We have 200. We have 200 identified on the basic plan as a target. Yes.
And then the ones down in the back by the tennis court?
That's included in that number.
So a total of 200.
Yeah, and remember, this is still very basic.
Exactly.
So that number can fluctuate a little bit as we move through the process, but
Right.
But that's the proposal now. As the proposals get more and more developed and detailed, those will be presented for scrutiny by all the appropriate agencies and associations.
Ken, it looks like one of the questions is why is Marlton adding townhouses to the community? And Arthur, I may ask you, we're not adding, this is all part of which I believe was called an RPC, a residential plan community. And we are under the cap. Is that correct?
That is correct. Good evening, everyone. And the property is zoned for and was contemplated for development on this site for the overall development for this plan for Marlton. The type of units that they have, right now is the townhouse is an option. The property, he said it's mixed zone, but the RMF 12 is under the new ordinance allows for approximately 12 townhouses per acre, and it's consistent with the development as was pointed out all around. So, when was the RPC developed? It hasn't been developed yet. I mean, it's part of the plan that Park and Planning puts together as to the design and the development scheme for Marlton. And this area, again, was contemplated to be developed.
It was actually
Kaden,
referred to
I'm
as
gonna
an
call
official
her.
plan.
What is this?
Well, again, when you say eliminate all the trees, again, there is a tree preservation or ordinance that requires in any development now a certain percentage of the trees to be maintained, and in this development that would have to be met as well.
And Ken, can you explain the stormwater? How
Well,
we
just
have
to follow up on our response, these trees, the trees that exist in here will not be eliminated. They'll be preserved, both as part of, well, mostly as part of the forest conservation plan, but also because they don't. It's just makes a better subdivision really if these are all preserved. Stormwater management will be water quality devices. Those will be generally microbial retention facilities. They'll be placed throughout the subdivision in order to meet the regulations from Prince George's County and the state of Maryland, and they'll provide water quality control prior to the water entering the stream that you can see through here.
And Art,
They were
again,
asking about the power grid. I don't know, again, the utilities would have to be reviewed as part of the overall process as well. So Ken, I don't know if you wanted to.
Well, so the utilities, the dry utilities, which would include the power grid, are effectively in place as existing infrastructure that surround the site. However, as part of the process, we will be reaching out to the appropriate power company. I think this is Pepco's jurisdiction. So we'll be working with Pepco to either increase or address the needs for power with the addition of these townhouses at our expense, as just part of the infrastructure design, just like a road or stormwater management or any one of the other infrastructure requirements like water and sewer. That's just part of the operational process in order to get to a building permit.
and someone said something about the tennis courts being demolished. We don't have, we have no plans to take away any tennis courts.
The
Hi,
tennis courts-
gentlemen. Can I please manage the chat? Because you're skipping some questions. So
Oh, okay.
let me go ahead and jump in for that. So
Okay.
first of all, Lee's iPhone has a question. So I don't know if Lee, you want to unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yes, I can. Yes, hello.
Hello.
Excuse me, I was concerned with the power grid. In the past, we've had power outages for sometimes 3 to 4 days, maybe a week. And I'm sure that it's gonna put more demand on the area. So I don't know if there's gonna be a lift station or something to accommodate the added burden on the existing homeowners, like a substation.
We'll have to bring in power to service the new units themselves. We haven't gotten deep enough into the design process to be able to answer specific power grid needs, but for the purpose of the subdivision here, we have to bring in power that services these units without impacting the surrounding existing homes.
Okay, there's another question. Will the homes also be fronting Marlton Center Drive? You said that the front would be Heather Moore, but will there be any townhomes fronting Marlton Center Drive?
So Marlton Center Drive is located here. You can see we have some strings right here. This one here represents a string of units that will front Marlton. So you'll see the front door oriented in that direction.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Listen, there's a question, it was a question / statement. Wouldn't the best preservation be just not to build 200 homes? What's the parking plan for the new development in a neighborhood already experiencing parking limitations?
Yeah, that's a problem.
So Andy, you know your houses better than I do if you wanted to respond to that, but each one of these will have garage units and to a large extent driveways to access them.
Can I jump in here real quick on that? Because that's my question. This is Donna Brooks. That's great, but that only assumes that they never have any guests. So I'm assuming they never have any guests because they'll have their car and probably if it's a married couple, their husband's or their wife's car. I'm assuming they don't as well have any children that drive. So that means, again, you're not addressing the question. You're dancing around the question that most homes nowadays have children that drive cars. Most homes have people that actually visit. And so I've been in communities where they have driveways. Generally, the garage is full of stuff because they don't have adequate basements and storage. So that ends that. So there's someone already parked who lives there in that house. So then we have, and I just want to, every place I've been to that has garages have really struggles. I've been over in Clinton. I've been in different areas in Waldorf. I've been in Brandywine, and I see the same pattern. So if we have a husband and a wife, they have a driveway, one in the driveway, one in the remaining portion of their driveway, where do their children park and where do guests park? Because we have very limited street parking now and very limited visitor parking now.
Ken, isn't there a code in Prince George's County that we have to meet?
There is a code. We have to meet that code or else we can't get approval of the plans. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what the numbers are, but every townhouse development meets the same number or has to exceed it.
Right.
We have, and again,
Will they have visitor parking though?
yeah, those numbers are supposed to accommodate visitor parking. It's not, you get to count your driveways and you get to count your garages as part of that number, but
Yeah, see, and
the
that's not a
number
visitor
exceeds-
parking. That's a human who lives there.
Yeah, I understand. So the number that Prince George's County requires exceeds the number that you have just for garages and driveways. So you have to have excess parking for visitors and or other third vehicles. Well, I want to stress that what we haven't had and what really isn't necessary at this point in time is the detailed design of where the parking is going to be. But you can see there are spaces both on the existing roadways where we can have parallel parking, and in the spaces left where there are not units, we could provide some additional parking there as well.
And I'm going to make one other comment. You may not be aware of it because you don't live here. Those people whose homes front the different streets will always have cars in front of their house. They're probably not them. They will always have cars parked. We have strap parking issues here. I've been here 20 years. So I'm speaking from my historical background for living in Marlton. So, and I can tell you, they will always have people that are not part of their home parked in front of their home for those who front Woodstock. I know that to be fact because I pass that every day when I leave my house to go to work.
Well, they'll have rear load garages.
Okay, but I'm saying for them, they will always have someone parked in front of their house. So I hope there's a buffer between the street and there, because we're just strapped. They will always have visitors in front, someone parked in front of their home.
Well, you bring up a good point, Donna, because on Woodstock, there's a sidewalk and it's county parking available on that street. So when you put these townhomes that are facing Woodstock,
yes,
what are you planning on doing with the sidewalk in front of, I'm assuming you're not touching that because that's county property.
Yeah, well, there's no intent to disturb. There's no intent to disturb county property or remove infrastructure. If we have to temporarily disrupt it for construction purposes, we'll replace it.
And I like your choice of words. You say there's no intent. Is there any ordinance that says that can't? Because you say the intent. Intent can always change into a reality.
We have no intent to disturb or remove county infrastructure except in where they require us to upgrade it.
Okay. And if it's a question of people parking on Woodstock, we can proffer that we will not have parking on our plans for people parking on Woodstock, and we'll even put up no parking signs.
Well,
and here's the kicker, but these are people that have lived here for 20 years. So they've been parking there. They have children, they have families. Goodness gravy, they might even have guests that visit. And because there's already a strapped parking situation it's already a strapped parking situation where you're coming. So you can put that there, but really? So now we're going to start towing again? We're back to that? That's, I said, what's the plan for your building? I assume you have plans for these guests, these people that own these homes to have guests that come. And so, because the people have guests that come visit their houses that live right on Woodstock. That is current today. That was current a year ago and 2 years ago.
And is that,
so that is something that's static. That has not changed.
So is it something that you guys can take into consideration, and then we have another meeting where you can talk about how you're going to address the parking?
Okay. Thank you.
Donna, to your point, I'm looking at an aerial 2023 on PG Atlas. I see cars parked on the developed side of Woodstock. I'm looking at it now. And if we have to post no parking signs, we will.
Posting no parking signs on Woodyard doesn't help the people who currently live
here
in Woodyard. They currently park on the side that is developed, but they are also parked on the other side whenever somebody over there has a guest because they don't have parking.
Thank you for reiterating that.
they were built to specs and they were given the required amount of parking. But you got to know that like these days, every home has like 2 to 3 cars at least. I have 5 at my house right now. Because we have that many
Ken,
drivers in my house.
I'm sorry,
And
Ken.
what I'm saying is, if you put no parking signs up on Woodstock, you're gonna kill the people who already live there because they're not gonna be able to park their cars anywhere.
Yeah,
They
And
Pat,
already
Lorraine, just to
live there.
as add to your point, we have made Marlton. These houses that have not been built have not been the people who are part of Marlton. So you're talking about people that don't even exist yet in Marlton. What are you doing to accommodate the people who've been institutional to the part of Marlton? You're talking about putting no parking signs for us. What are you doing to address that? Because you're not answering the question again. You're sidestepping.
well, so Pat, I don't think we're in a position, I don't think the county
You
will
took the
allow us
words
to
out, you're
offer
taking the
no
word, you're
parking.
right, Ken.
Yeah, that's already there. They're not going to take away somebody's opportunity they've been using. Well, all I'm saying is that generally speaking, along the red dots there, you'll find opportunities to parallel park. And that's what we'll provide that as a part of the road design where you have.
I'm
Okay.
sorry, how wide is that street gonna be? Because if we're talking like Thornberry wide, that's not wide enough.
How wide? I didn't
How
hear you.
wide is the
He's
street
talking
gonna
about a
be?
specific road, but the ultimate question is, how wide do you plan for these roads to be?
These
in that
roads are
inside the community?
probably in the, let's call it 50-foot wide range, somewhere in that range. So that's 2 lanes plus parking on the side. Now that gets interrupted by driveways, so you gotta account for that. But that's the general thought at the moment.
But
There's
got
so
so
many
many
red
houses.
dots,
Where are
okay?
gonna-
I'm sorry, because I don't hear
Yeah.
a solution coming, and we've got so many more questions in
Yeah,
the
we do.
chat. So I hope you as developers have heard the concerns regarding the parking and will find some way to address those concerns.
Absolutely.
Okay, so moving on,
Yeah.
there was a question about the tennis courts being demolished off of Woodstock, and I do believe Lorraine answered that correctly, that those tennis courts will remain there. The townhomes will be next to the tennis courts.
That's correct.
Okay. Then David Smalls asked, how do you plan to support Malton Elementary? The county estimates 1 student for every 3 townhomes. With $55 million cut in our CIP funding next, I'm concerned about having an overcrowded school and no way to remedy that.
Well, if I could answer that, the school system and the development is any development pays a fee for each unit for the school system. And the school system itself makes a determination of where the students go and what percentage it turns out to be if a school is overcrowded or not overcrowded or whatever. The responsibility of the developer is to pay, and it's a fairly healthy fee per unit and it's increased every year in July. And I don't remember what the number is here in 2024, but my recollection is this. I don't know, Ken, if you know, it's in excess of 25,000.
It's about 25,000 right now per
Yeah.
unit.
So I think another way to
outside the
put that,
Beltway.
is there any way that you can influence where that money goes? So we ensure that it comes to Marlton Elementary and not say to another school in another community, because Prince George's County is a large county. We're saying, can we specifically earmark funds to handle potential overcrowding at Marlton Elementary?
So the funds do not go directly to the school system. They go to the county's Department of Public Permits, Inspection, and Enforcement, who then have an agreement with the school system. So, I mean, certainly you can, they'll know, and we can certainly say something, but truthfully, I'm not sure what influence we can have over that, because it's set up in a system that's beyond the control of any developer at any location.
Hi, that was my question. Yeah, that is concern, and I am aware of that. I'm aware that several developers have possibly paid the money, but it has not, in fact, gone to the CIP funding. And that is some direct information that I received. And so that's a big concern because our schools are suffering. We've got all this development happening. And although you may be, developers may be paying these fees, I understand that you can't necessarily do anything about it. But if there is any way that you can influence that, because again, Marlton is very much in need of repairs. Granted, it is not currently overcrowded, but looking at the numbers, and I crunched the numbers, it's a possibility that it can be overcrowded. And it's very much in need of repairs. So I'm just concerned also about that aspect of bringing in so many new homes.
So
We
I
got
think
some
the
people that have been waiting. Arliss has been waiting a while with her hand raised, and Liz over here, Burley.
but I want to ask this question real quick because it's a common theme. Do we really have a say in this, or are you just informing us?
They're informing us.
No, you do have a say in development. Absolutely. Yes, and we have to go through a process, and it's a development process that originally when we talked about the comprehensive plan, they wanted that you all to have some commercial located on this site, and as we look at it, it's to have it buried in the within your community is probably not the best use and the design of that site. So as part of the comprehensive plan, again, you could say, part of it you'd like to see something else associated with it. What kind of thing? I'm sorry.
A community center.
Oh, well, and when the townhouses develop and stuff, there will be some amenities and stuff associated with the section that we have there. There's no community center already in Marlton?
No.
Huh.
Well, no.
Interesting.
Outside of the two schools that are located on each side, there's Mattapanai and
Marlton Elementary.
Yeah.
And can
but
I
there's
just make
no-
one quick comment? They were building that community center 20 years ago since I arrived. So just very interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, can we go to Arliss now? I'm gonna see your
Yeah,
name
thank
correctly.
you. You touched on my question, which is like, is this really sharing for information or sharing because as a community, we have power as to one, if the homes are actually built, right? And what it actually looks like. And I get that. I completely understand the politics and the roles that you play as developers. So where does the power actually lie? Is there, what would need to happen for us to say, like, we do not want this here?
Well, the property is zoned, and the uses that are suggested are mostly permitted. And so to that extent, the property owner has certain rights. However, the rights only exist to the point where we can establish that the uses that we're proposing can meet adequacy of public facilities. They were talking about, public utilities. Originally, it was talking about transportation, traffic. There are requirements that have to be met in order for approval for the development to occur at this site. So, we can say, well, we have a right, but our right is only to be able to demonstrate that development can occur at this site under the design. And again, like Mr. Dunn mentioned early on here, this is just the original plan and layout. Things, certainly could change. And this is an informational point of view, saying that this is what we think would probably be the best layout and development of this site.
Got it. And my follow-up, thank you for that. My follow-up to that is, I'm not sure who the developer was for the property where I currently reside. I bought it probably 3 or 4 years ago, only to find out post inspection that it was never electrically grounded and never electrically grounded. I'm going to state that again, never electrically grounded. And if that was, you know, Mr. Ricker, your development and how it got approved does not leave a lot of trust with what's coming.
What street do you live on?
Marlton Center Drive.
No, that was not me.
So never electrically grounded.
Yeah.
So you could understand when you're speaking about putting up 240 plus homes where we do have electricity going out on the sunniest of days without any weather in the sky, and the infrastructure that's needed to support such development. And there isn't lots of conversations around the infrastructural supports, right? The concern that it brings to the community.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at the aerial now from 2001, and there was just that year, Marlton Center Drive was just under construction. I don't know who the builder was back then.
So I would probably say, if I were you guys, right, and I get what it's been slated for, maybe consider approaching this from a different perspective and saying, like, what does the community really need and how do you integrate what the community needs with what you're aiming to accomplish? Like, talk about the infrastructure, talk about what happens with schools, right? Talk about the traffic, talk about the parking, and approach it from that angle so that the community would be more receptive to what you're proposing.
Well said, ma'am.
Absolutely.
Liz, you have your hand up, Liz Burley. You want to take yourself off of mute, ma'am? Okay, I'll come back to you. It is almost 10 minutes after 8, just to make people aware of the time. There's a question in there, and is there going to be any rodent remediation?
Well, we don't really know the extent of DPIE, which is the jurisdictional agency that sort of maintains and designs roads, or approves the road design. We don't know the extent of what they'll ask for. There's probably going to be some improvement to Heathermore Boulevard. I think West Marlton and drawing a blank on the name, are fully designed and developed. If there's some improvements that need to be made, that'll be vetted during the design process.
Ken, I think the question said rodents.
That's correct. I'm like, maybe I didn't speak correctly. Rodents.
As in rodents?
Vermin. Yes.
Rat. Oh, okay.
Well, the construction guys will get them. I don't. That's not really anything that I have any expertise in.
Yeah, well, we don't want to run into the neighboring homes that are already there.
Yeah.
So I think that's where the question is stemming from.
There's a significant amount of woods that are being left. If there are vermin that you can't get rid of in other ways, they'll probably migrate to that area if they're not already there.
Yeah, there's a lot of gophers in the area. Okay, iPhone has a hand raised up. iPhone, if you want to unmute yourself. Looks like your number 301-715-8592.
Okie dokie.
Okay, so what is the estimated increase in the local population from this project? Because we know you're talking about 200 plus homes. What is your estimate that it's going to be? How many people in the household?
Well, let's do a little math here. 200 times 3. If you average 3 per household, that'd be 600 people. And that's using 3. If it's 4, it's 800.
Okay. We've talked a lot about parking. Don't really have an answer for these.
Oh, somebody said, what amenities will this new subdivision bring to Marlton as a whole development brings to exist?
Well, we'll have some recreational facilities that are generally designed for the population, the local population. At this point, we haven't really gotten into the design of anything further than that, simply because right at the moment, we're simply going through the basic plan to try to get the idea of these units approved at Prince George County, so we can take the next step, which allows us to test the adequate public facilities and any other amenities that would be necessary to get the plan approved.
And then, so in that vein, someone asked, will current residents be able to access?
I don't
Or
think
is
we
this going
really
to be
got
only for the people in that
down
community?
We're just not really that far down. I mean, if we don't get the right to do this, if we don't get the approval to do this, we can't really take the next step.
And this is a community that will have a homeowners association, correct?
Yeah, that's the expectation.
Okay. Another question is, why is an entrance being placed on Marlton Center Drive rather than an entrance being placed on Heathermore for those new folks to enter their new development?
So there are existing curb cuts that are expected to be used here and generally here. That's the way the grid was set up. And so
Where's your mark? Oh, you were pointing to the red arrows? Yeah, okay.
the red arrows. That's the way that the previous developments were set up, and so we were trying to take advantage of that. But there's a practical reason where Heathermore doesn't really operate as well as, say, these two roads, because of the amount of grade that it would be necessary to traverse to get from the elevation that Heathermore is at to the elevation where we're expecting to put the residential units. It's pretty significant vertical climb in a fairly short horizontal distance. So it doesn't lend itself easily to grading and earthwork, and so we're trying to reduce the amount of impact that we have to the property.
Okay.
And it's just more conducive to use the red arrow locations.
Is there a planned meeting for December the 16th?
I think that was isn't that the official?
That, if I recall, that's the actual official neighborhood meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, and the sign that was put up at the intersection of Heathermore and Fairhaven fell down like 2 days after it was put up. And it's been hard for people to know anything about that meeting. So somebody needs to get out there and put that sign back up the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, we were notified of that today, and we put that a repair in motion to get that back up. We have to actually order the signs from a sign company. Takes them a day or two to get the signs, and then we have to get out there and post it.
I also want to add that the notification that was sent and the link that was provided to become a person of record and to register, it does not work. And I believe I called Mr. Horn's office and he put me in contact with Mr. Ricker, who sent the link for this meeting. How can that be resolved? Because I've tried multiple times and it's simply, and I can screenshot the error message that I get. I put in all my information and it tells me, I'll read you what it says.
Was that through the Parks and Rec application?
It's the MNC PPC.
Yeah, so you would have to contact them for that. We need to make sure we have the correct number though, because I tried as well.
But somebody put a link here in the chat. Let me check it out.
Yeah.
The email or the written notification came from Shipley and Horn's office.
Okay.
So that's the letter I'm looking at and the document I'm using to register.
Right. Because I wasn't able to do it either with that.
So you're looking.
So the correct link is in the chat.
That is
just
exactly,
so you know.
That's exactly the link that I submitted, and I'll try it right now with us.
Oh, you say when you try, so once you filled out the application, you couldn't submit anything?
And when you click submit, it kicks an error message.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So that's why I was saying, because of the website, that would be, with park and planning, or planning and whatever, park and planning versus, you know, what they would be doing. Actually, I'll call them again tomorrow
registered,
to tell them that.
person of record.
Yes,
Yeah, that's through park and planning. They do have a process through that. There are telephone numbers that that can assist with that. I don't have them off the top of my head, but you probably
they're
figure
right
out-
on the website, yeah. Regina, are you
Okay. My question was, I'm sorry, just on Heather Moore, right there, it's usually about 2 lanes where the development is going to be. Are they planning on considering widening Heather Moore at all? And will they be putting sidewalks there along Heather Moore for those families that have faced Heather Moore?
So there's been some debate on that. We suspect that at the end of the day that we will have to improve Heathermore to put that second lane in, including sidewalks, curb and gutter, storm drain, street lights.
And you made the statement, and I just want to confirm, there will be no parking on Heathermore Boulevard.
It's a county road. There's no parking there now, right?
Not there, no.
Yeah, then I don't think, I think they'll probably enforce the same standards through here as they enforce in the rest of the subdivision. So
Now they park across the street in front of the apartments.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it now. You're right. I'm looking at it right now. They are.
You mean on the public road?
Yes.
Yes, on the public road.
Yeah, if that's what we could ask, we can ask that to prevent that, if that's what's desired. But I don't ultimately have control over that.
Gentlemen, if you don't mind, could you put your contact information in the chat? Where you want people to contact you and provide questions or get back in touch with you?
Yeah, I can do that.
Ken, I don't know how to
Thank
do
you.
I don't know how to do that.
Well, there's a chat button somewhere on your screen.
Yeah.
All you have to do is hit that.
Pat, you can just tell it and I'll type it.
Well, my telephone number is 240-375-4462.
There we
Pat
go.
Ricker.
Yep. And my email is pat@rickerbrothers, all spelled out, 1988.com. Pat@rickerbrothers, 1988.com. Thank you, Regina.
I spelled Ricker Brothers wrong. So
R-I-C-K-E-R. Brothers spelled out.
Did you say 1988 or 1998?
1988.
That's what I thought. That's the year I graduated.
Okay.
You need to put that. Regina,
I'm fixing it.
Okay.
Pat@Rickett Brothers.
Ricker Brothers, 1988.com.
Yes, no S on the end of that.
No
Got
S.
it.
That's it. Thank you.
All right.
I'm sorry, the typographical error on my name it didn't go with it, but where it says AJ in the chat, it's actually 301-925-1800, not 926. I don't know.
Okay.
And then the email is correct.
So in your role, Arthur, again?
I'm the land use attorney. If this goes to a hearing, I just present it to the board.
Okay. So just for general, what are the steps?
Well, we have, in this particular case, you have 3. You start off with looking at the basic plan that has been contemplated for this site, which would require a hearing before the zoning hearing examiner here in Prince George's County. And then if that's successful, then you have the preliminary plan of subdivision and ADQ, where the adequacy of public facilities are tested. That's where all the things that we've heard here tonight with transportation, public utilities, environment with trees, all that's determined at the time of the preliminary plan. And if that is successful, you move in, then the last is the detailed site plan. What does it look like? What amenities are you going to have? How's the on-site parking? We just say the four corners of the property at the time of the detailed site plan. And in each one of those processes, it takes a while. So, you're talking here tonight, we're years away from being even through the administrative processes before you even get to grading and all. So it takes a while to go through the process.
So we haven't met the first meeting.
No,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
We haven't filed an application. We just have a number.
Okay.
Alexis, would you like to meet the builder and see some of the architecture?
No.
Okay.
I
Sorry,
love it,
Andy.
Pat, but I don't want these townhouses. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm sure they're lovely.
Okay.
They're pretty.
But no,
lovely.
I think it's a good idea, even if
Okay, so okay.
we should. And then also,
Hey,
maybe
that was
they
my
would
personal
consider
feeling jumping out
putting
there.
less than as many as they have planned. Maybe something that we can negotiate for the community.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen, for putting your information in the chat. And just for those that are on the line, we are recording this meeting, so you can always go to our website, which was originally way up there in the chat at marlton.org, and you can watch the video of tonight's meeting.
Thank you.
Very good.
Appreciate you having and answering the questions and coming out and sharing it with you. Now, we
Appreciate you
that.
having us.
Yes. And hopefully we didn't poke you too bad.
No, not at all.
But we're not done.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think you got some food for thought to take back with you, and hopefully, you guys will take into consideration our concerns.
We will,
as
but
you move forward.
just so I'm clear, you don't want to see any architecture right now?
Do you have it to show right
Andy? Or
I
Ken?
thought I sent it over to Ken.
Yeah, let's see if I can bring it up here.
now? Hot potato.
And what I encourage you to do, Dreamfinders is building a beautiful community down on Berry Road in Charles County, just over the Prince George's County line, called Scotland Heights. And I encourage everybody, if you have a day or so, just drive down and take a look at it. That's the kind of quality we're talking about.
But we would love houses, Pat, not townhouses. But I get where it just, we would love houses.
I understand.
But I get that where it is, is zoned for townhome. So, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You should be able to screen with some of the
Yeah, I see.
posed. That's one of the units. If Andy, if you want to.
Yeah, those are the 22-foot wide. The top elevation is the front garage version, and the bottom elevation is for the rear garage condition. That is the 22-footer, and then we have a 20-foot wide product. That is the front garage unit, which is a 1-car garage. And then there is a rear garage unit that is a 2-car garage. And I would caution that these are brochures taken from other communities. Those communities didn't have very significant brick requirements. Prince George's County is fairly particular about percentages of brick and the like. So that'll all be vetted through the process with Park and Planning as we submit the architecture to them, and they go through their review process as well. But just to give a general flavor for the elevations. And as Pat said, we do have the 20-foot product, and then we have a 24-foot product down at Scotland Heights. So to give you a pretty good idea of what we'd be building here.
Okay.
I wish I had one closer, but I don't at the moment.
We're working on it, Andy.
Yeah, the other one's out. You can go see them out in Damascus, but that's even further. So probably not.
You said it was Barry?
Yeah, Scotland Heights.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just
Hey,
for
Andy, there's a
background,
website. Is there a website, Scotland Heights with Dreamfinders?
You can go on the Dreamfinders website and then under communities, you can
Yes.
click on Scotland Heights and you'll
Yeah.
see the elevations and the rest of it for the community there.
What's the pricing for these? Have you thought about that yet? Well, I'm
For
sure you have.
these,
So.
the base pricing is going to be kind of in the upper fours, and that's for the 20-foot
Said for
unit.
the
By the
base?
time
You said for the base.
the base price, yes.
Okay.
So by the time, folks come in and buy options and the rest of it, we anticipate that the actual closing sales prices are going to be in the low to mid fives.
Okay.
And just as a little background, Pat had mentioned that we're a fairly young company. This company did start in Jacksonville in 2009. I think we built 100 homes specifically and solely in Jacksonville. Next year, we'll build over 10,000 homes. We're in 24 different markets now, 12th largest builder in the country, and one of the top, I think the top 80 fastest growing companies at the moment. So we've been very aggressive and we're growing dramatically.
Concern parking. The name of that. What's the name of the architecture firm on the project?
KTGY is doing the vast majority of our architecture now.
Okay. The rear elevation and front elevation. Okay. They're nice. I mean,
All right, we're at 8, almost 8:30.
Yes, we're wrapping it up. All right. Did you have any closing things that you wanted to say before we go?
I think we're good. Art, Ken,
Thank you.
Lindsay.
No, thank you very much for your time. And like I say, we'll have another meeting in general on the 16th, just pretty much repeating what we're saying here this evening.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you for your
very
time.
much.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Yeah, and
No
make sure you put the sign back up.
Well, it'll be up. I promise.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
we're
Thanks,
still in
Pat.
a
Happy
meeting.
holidays.
Alexis, you got
Thank
another
you.
slide.
I know. Okay. So while we got everybody on here, because I know y'all ready to go, we need a secretary for our board. My daughter is in grad school and she's graciously participated, but she's ready to give it up. So if anybody's interested, please, we got the email and hopefully you get our newsletter. So we're always begging. We got spots for volunteers every place that you can possibly imagine, including the newsletter. If you're interested in writing an article, or if you have a business and you want to promote your business, we just do a barter. You write an article, we promote your business. It's that simple. Oh, the golf course. Is he still on here? Let me see. Is he, or did he leave? What was
Yeah, I
his
don't
first
see him.
name?
I don't see him.
Okay. Oh, he tipped out of here.
Probably a while ago, because that was a lot.
Yeah, well, you know what? Yeah, it was a lot. Okay, we will, I promise you, we will get him on a call. We will try to get that set up for March, which will be March what? Lead right into it. March what?
I'm getting
Regina?
ready to go had to go to the calendar. I wasn't ready.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So our next meeting will be on March the 13th.
13th. Okay.
Yes.
March the 13th, 7:00. It's always on a Thursday because I don't want to conflict with anybody else's HOA meetings. What I wanted to say is that when that's why I asked them what process they were in. We can fight them once they have a hearing, get registered and be, what is it, person of record? Where you at, Lo? And go on that website and add your name to it. We can fight this. So it's not, that's why I wanted to know if they had already been approved. So if you register and say something and get together, because there was a lot of good stuff that you guys added on there. We can have a list, bullet points of why we don't want the townhomes, and we can add that to, if they get that far to the hearing, and bring those things up. So
I'm going to say this. I'm not sure that we can prevent it from happening since it was part of the master plan, but I think we can shape what they actually put into the community.
But he said they haven't even started They said it
But
was
that's,
you,
remember, it was Norm Riviera, and then
and
now we
now
got,
yeah,
that's the
somebody
exact
else.
same plan that Norm Riviera
It
showed us
is.
with
It's nothing, and then it was
229 townhomes.
139. It was 139 townhomes, and they added some.
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah, that's
it
where
looks
we at.
like David Small's got a hand up again. Is
Oh,
that new?
okay.
Yeah,
Go
that's
ahead.
me. Hey there. Just FYI, just like I think Arlise said this, the website is down. I emailed Park and Planning on November 30th. I have not received an email back yet about the website, the issue, but it says the administrator of the website has been notified. So I guess I'm assuming this is a problem that has been going on for a while because I've attempted several times and it seems like they've just ignored it. So nobody's getting to me. So I will have to call. But once you become a person of record, you also have to apply to speak. So you can't just become a person of record. You do have to apply to speak for that. So just wanted to put that tidbit out there
Yeah,
as well.
absolutely. Oh, I have a name for you. Put your email in the chat because I just talked to her today. She gave me some great information. So, and how to get beyond this because I won't say what I was thinking, but anyway, just give me your phone number and I will give you her name and number. You can call her directly.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah. And I will give you that information right after the call because I will forget after that. Okay.
I dropped mine in there also, so I can have the same information.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Forward it to anybody that wants that information. If you can't get on, when you get on the site and you can't get through, she's the person to contact. Okay. Anybody have any questions for us? Anybody? I see somebody with the phone number, red hand raised, but go ahead and say something.
Thank you. My name is Raymond Lightborn, and I've been living in Bronson for about 20 years now. And my concern is, I know where they're planning on putting this, but my concern is
Did we lose you?
Oh, we can't hear you.
Hello? I think we lost him. He probably in and out.
Yeah.
I want to thank y'all for coming. I want to say that. Let's see this many. Are you back?
No, it's somebody different. It's Andrea.
Okay.
I just had a quick question about the issues that people are having because I did it and I got something that says your request to become a person of record has been submitted successfully. So has no one else received that?
That's what the problem is.
Okay, yeah, because I know when I tried like on my phone or iPad, it was giving me issues. But then when I tried on my laptop, like on the actual computer, it went through.
Okay, maybe that's the issue then.
No,
I was on my phone.
I've tried multiple times on my computer.
And it didn't work out. Okay.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I
I'm gonna give you the phone
screenshot
number.
the message that I received.
She's a nice lady. Very helpful. Oh my gosh. What is her name? I'm gonna send it. I ain't gonna hold anybody up. Anyway, have a our next meeting we talked about that. What we say? What we said was Regina, I forgot already.
March the 13th at 7 p.m.
March the 13th, 7 p.m. You guys have a wonderful Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Stay safe out there. And remember, if you hear gunshots, call 911 anyway.
Please.
Honestly.
And thank you.
And
Happy
if you have any
holidays.
questions for us or anything, email me. What is my email? It's Marlton
It's in the
Neighborhood
chat.
Alliance.
Marlton Neighborhood
Okay.
Alliance at gmail.com. It's already in the chat a couple of times.
Anything you want to volunteer for? Come see me. Okay. We're having our come on, my you read my mind. What are we having in August? Because my brain.
We're having our block party, our annual block party at the Marlton Pool.
Yes.
And that date is August the 9th.
August the 9th. So
yes, and that is start at 2 p.m.
Yes.
On August the 9th. As well as our annual trunk or treat.
For it. We want you to come, but we need volunteers. We need volunteers to make it right.
But we'll bring it up again in March.
Yes. All right, y'all. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Have a good year.
Good night, everyone.